Okay, the next stage in this process is to prepare this floor tom shell for rewrapping, which means I've got to take this finish off. Now, this is probably my least favourite part of the whole process because this is a 1960s Ludwig and this finish is stuck on here really well. Now, I'm sure that a lot of restorers will probably just rip this finish off willy-nilly. Now, the problem with that is you're likely to take 50 or 60% of the outer ply with it. So that's not so great, is it? And I've never had a customer say to me, can you rewrap my drums, and I want 60 or 70% less mahogany in the outer ply than there was before. So I tried to do this as carefully and as properly as possible without damaging the shell. And the first part of it is to take the badge off. Now, I'm going to use one of these cylindrical metal files to get the badge off. Now, what you have to do is make sure that you don't damage the badge and you don't damage the drum. Okay, so I've made a little start on this badge already. So I'm going to just start with the side. Just put the file in. Now when you can see wood appear, don't go any further. Don't go any further, because if you go any further you're going to go through the badge or you're going to go through the drum, through the shell. So stop then. Just turn the drum over, do the bottom. Done that bit already, so I'm just going to do the last side. You're never going to be able to use the grommet again, but that's okay, because they're fairly easy to get hold of. Right, now, this is a drum that I stripped earlier. Now, as you can see, all the mahogany is intact. That's the way I like it anyway. That's where it should be. Now, I lost my patience a little bit towards the end of the process, and this is what happened. I lost some mahogany right at the end here. So that's what can happen, but that can happen all the way around the shell, and that's what your shell would look like if you don't do this process. But that's okay, that's not really a disaster, because I was going to cut this down because some damage in the where the throw is. I was going to cut this, so this part is actually going to be scrap anyway, so I'm just going to take this good half here, where all the mahogany is good. Now, back to this shell, right. Be under no illusions at this process. I'm going to play the long game. This might even take me a day, maybe even 2 days to do it. But it's important, for me it's important that I do this as carefully as possible. Now, when you handle this finish, when it starts to come off this shell, you wouldn't believe how sharp it is. The edges are really sharp and it's tough as well. I've cut myself more on a finish, an old finish of a drum, than any knife going that I've ever used in this process. It's really sharp. But I'm not going to strip it in here. So wear gloves basically. I'm not going to strip it in here. I'm going to go outside where I've got a steamer, and I'm going to use that. Okay, so here we have the shell. Now I've got my gloves here, which I'm not going to wear right now, but I'm going to put them on. Definitely put them on would actually do the job. A pair of adjustable pliers with a long handle, so you can keep your hands away from the steam. I've got a wallpaper scraper, also called a putty knife, I think. I don't know what they're called actually, but that's what they look like anyway. I've also got one of these, a wallpaper steamer. This is what you use to take wallpaper off walls. This one's quite handy because it's got a jet nozzle on the end. Yeah, high tech. Right, now I found out earlier on that when this steam is going, it makes so much noise you can't hear what I'm saying. So I'm going to do this as if the steamer was working. You'll have to use your imagination a bit. But I'm just going to hand the camera over. Right, so basically I've just lifted a bit of this finish up to start with, just there. Okay, now not too much, you don't need too much, okay, but when this steamer's going, you lift that up and you get the steamer in there as much as you can, for as long as you want really, the longer the better. And then with a pair of pliers, obviously to start with it's not that easy. So doing like this, that's wet now, that's wet, and then you just pull. I'm not going to pull it, you can hear that, that's the mahogany starting to go, but I'm just going to pull that a little bit each time, and eventually we'll get around the whole shell with a wrap off and the mahogany intact. Okay, back to the floor tom. I'm pleased to say that I managed to strip this floor tom, and the mahogany has stayed on the floor tom all the way around. Just a word of warning, the steamer, hot steam, steam and electricity, always wear gloves. It's a nasty job. It doesn't really make the job any quicker, but it makes it a bit more reliable in keeping the mahogany on, which it has done. I've drilled it up for 8 lugs per side now, like a downbeat floor tom, and I've filled the holes where the lugs were before when it was a club date. I've painted it inside as well, and as you can see, I hope you can see anyway, there's no evidence of the holes on the inside at all. Holes were filled with 2-part filler, sanded, and then wet sanded, and then primed, a little bit of wet sanding, and then the paint, which is just a standard water-based household paint, mixed with a bit of yellow water-based household paint, just to get the right colour. That was applied with a roller, small little roller, and it's come out really well. I've also done the edges. I've spun the edges on a board, and I've kind of recut the edges as close as I can. So I've done pretty much everything apart from wrapping it. The paint has come over the edge a little bit, but I'm going to sort that out. That'll be one of the last jobs I do on this drum. It's really just fine-tuning at that point. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with it. I've got to tidy the outside up. It's got to be obviously prepped for the finish, so I'm probably going to sand this down just a little bit, light sanding it, just to make sure that this finish is, the outside is really ready for the finish. Yeah, I'm pleased with it. I think it's going to make a great little floor tom. I think it's going to be good.